Hi guys, in today's video we are going to be looking at portrait retouching from start to finish in Adobe Photoshop. This is Twisted Creative. Alaribe Emmanuel is my name. If it's your first time on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not only by hitting that subscribe button, also ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. Without wasting much time, let's jump into it. This is the image we are going to be using, and we are going to be taking it step by step. The step one is going to be balancing of sharpness. If talking about balancing of sharpness, if you take a look at the image now, this eye at the right hand side is sharper than the one at the left side. So to take care of that, we have to go to filter, convert to smart filter, then hit OK. Then from here we'll go back to filter, order, then high pass. Then from here you can choose a value of 3 or 4, let's say 4, and hit OK. Double click this slider icon here to bring out the blend option. Then we'll take the mode, blend mode, to linear light. Then you can hit OK here. Then if you take a look at it now, you can notice that this eye is becoming too sharp and this other one is a little bit okay. But what we are going to do now, to review this now, we will have to select this layer marks here provided. Then we'll have to use our Ctrl I to invert the layer mark. See that the image goes back to normal. Then we'll pick our brush tool and make sure it's not up to 100%. So the flow and opacity. So we'll have to increase our brush size to match the area and click. It's not that compulsory that you should bring it as sharp as that 4 radius of 4 that we choose in the high pass level. So we have to use the same stuff to sharpen the edges. The edges, here we have edges at those blurred out area. So we have to check out all the places that are blurred out. Like, I think this area is also included. In this area. So I think we are through with the sharpness. You can see that the sharpness is balanced now. That takes us to step 2, which is going to be removing of spots. But before then, we have to flatten this image to a layer. We have to take it to a layer. We have to convert to layer. Then after converting it to layer, you just notice that it's just like an ordinary layer. Then before we continue, we have to duplicate with Ctrl J. So have a copy of it. Then the next step, which is step 2, is removing of spots and any distraction on the face. Then we are going to be removing all this stuff. We're going to choose spot healing brush and start removing all these stuffs on the face. Then we have to start drawing line on the tiny hairs. Then also you can remove the sweat. So as you can see now, we are done with the distractions, as in the spots and hair that was on the face. So the next step we are going to be taking is softening of the skin. We have to duplicate this top layer, which is, we can use Ctrl J to duplicate it into 3. The 2 top layers, we are going to use Ctrl G to put them in a group. We are going to open up the group. Then we have to rename first one as sharp. Then the second one, we have to rename it as blur. So the sharp, we have to right click on it and convert to smart object. Then we also right click on the blur and convert to smart object too. After converting them to smart objects, you select the sharp and go to filter, then order, then high pass. With this, you can take the radius of 2 or 3, let's say 2, then hit OK. Then you can go to blend mode and change it to linear light. Then after which, you can disable the sharp layer and select the blur layer, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Then you try to figure out like this rough area. Then you pick a particular area around here and you move the radius from left to right. You move it to the right until you notice that there's no details on this box. Then just hit OK. Then after which you enable the sharp layer and close the group. You select the group and go to add layer mask to the group and use your Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. Then pick up your brush and can adjust your brush size. Make sure your opacity and your flow is at 100. Then you start painting. You can reduce the brush and increase it for any size, any position you want to affect. Like you have to avoid something like this area. You can see the direction I'm following. You don't have to take it like this. You have to go like this, like this. So that is it for, I think that is it for the, you can see, touch up these areas. Then the arm, you can increase the brush size and do the same. So I think we are done with the smoothing. Then we have to go to step 4, which is adding skin texture. We are going to add an empty layer. Let's add an empty layer by clicking this box here to add an empty layer. Then we'll go to edit, fill. Then in the contents area, we have to choose 50% gray. Then we leave the mode at normal, then the opacity at 100, then hit OK. Right click on it and convert to smart object so as to go back and make your adjustment again. Then you move to filter, then filter gallery. Then in this you have to select you have to choose this texturizer here. You see a lot of stuff here, artistic stuff here. Then you choose this texturizer. Then on here you will see the texturizer, or you go down and choose texturizer on the drop down. Then the texture, you have to choose sandstone on this drop down. Then for the scaling, you can scale as much as you can. For this image, I think 110. Then for the relief, you can try by taking it from left to right, and as you are moving it to the right side, is increasing in sharpness. But you cannot take it back because it is too smooth. We don't want it to be smooth. We want a kind of roughness on the image, like skin texture. So we have to increase to, I think, like 20 should be enough for this image. Then we have this lighting. It's very, very important. Then you can check your image and see where the light is coming from. Maybe top left, right, or whatever. Then I think our light is coming from top right. So we have to choose top right to create dimension so that it's not going to be flat on the image. Then after which you have to hit OK. You can see the texture we had here. Then you go to blend mode and take it to overlay. look at how it's looking. Though it's looking nice anyway. Let's go. Then with this now, you can notice that we have it too sharp. Then we have to reduce the sharpness a bit by going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So in this Gaussian blur, we can take it, move from left to right and see what is going to suit our image. I think with this image now, let's say 1.6. 1.3 is not too bad. Let's try 1 and see how it's going to look on this image. So this is what we got at 1. Then you can see the layer mask provided here. You can just click it and use your Ctrl I to invert it. Then with this now, we'll just pick our brush tool and start brushing on the image. We are not going to brush all over the image, but we are going to selectively brush the area that we know that we need this skin texture. Then we have to reduce our brush and just brush. You can use your 100% opacity, but if you know you cannot control it, you can just move it down a bit, like 80% or 70 should be enough. You can just start clicking and you can see we are applying the texture on this image. Of course, we don't need it on the hair. So I think a little bit of it. That's why we should be on 70% or 80%. So there are some areas we don't need it that harsh. You can always reduce it by reducing your opacity. Just apply it. You can still reduce it a bit. Reduce the opacity and the flow a bit, and continue. I like it here for some reason. So I think we are all over the face now. We've done the areas that is needed. It can be rough anyway, but if you are doing yours, you have to put perfection into consideration. So here is what we got. Then you can go to your opacity and reduce your opacity so it not be too much on it. You can always go to the opacity and each of them can be adjusted. So we'll have it this way. So that takes us to stage 5, which is dodging and burning. We have to go to the adjustment layer and choose curves. So in this dialog box, we are not going to do anything here. We'll just go to blend mode and choose multiply. Then for this multiply, we are going to name it as burn. Then we have to go to the adjustment layer again and choose curves for the second time. Then we are not going to adjust anything here. We have to choose blend mode of screen. Then for the screen, we have to name it to dodge. So for these two now, we have to select the first one and select both of them and use Ctrl G to group them. Then we'll open up the dodge and burn stuff. Then we'll click and use Ctrl I to invert the dodge. Then use Ctrl I to invert the burn layer. Then we have to start with the burn layer. We have to take our brush tool and make sure our foreground color is white. Then our background color is black. Then hit OK. Take our opacity to 10, then our flow to 10 for it to be gradual. But with time, we are supposed to be using more than that number. But if you are doing yours, you can use 5 so that it comes gradually. You take your time and do a better job. But this is for the tutorial sake. So we have to start by burning. So let's see before and after if it is working. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. So let's continue. So let's go to the forehead. Let's go to the forehead. So let's see the before and after the dodging and burning. Let's see, this is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. Let's add to this area. This is before burning, this is after burning, this is before burning, this is after burning. Let's jump to the dodge area. And I think the dodge area is not that much. Let's just take here up a little. Then taking a look at the nose, the top of the nose, you have to take it from up to down, from up to down, to make it even brighter. Then have to reduce the brush, smaller brush, use a smaller brush to do it again. And increase the brush a little and enhance this light here. So you can enhance this area a little. Then this cheek. Then don't forget the chin. So let's check before. This is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. I think it's good enough. Let's say increase here. And see the forehead. Let's just do a little on the forehead. Then, as you can see, this is, let's group both of them together. Okay, let's close the group and see this is before the dodge and burning. This is after the dodge and burn. This is before the dodge and burn. This is after the dodge and burn. Then let's rename this group to be dodge and burn. D and B. Okay, so that takes us to, I think we are done with step 5, which is dodge and burn. We are going to step 6. We are going to add a little contrast to this piece of artwork. So we have to go to our adjustment layer again and choose hue and saturation adjustment layer. Then in here we are not going to adjust anything, just for us to go to our blend mode and choose color burn. So this color burn, you can take it to, depending on the image, because you are seeing that the image is already having a kind of contrast. Let's just make it 7% fill. Then we'll go to the adjustment layer again and choose hue and saturation adjustment layer again, and we are not doing anything here. Then we'll go to blend mode and choose burn color dodge. Then this color dodge, we have to take it to 7 also, and we have to put 2 of this in a group. Have to select the first one, hold your control and select the second one and use your control G to place them in a group. Then if we disable this group, we'll see we have a little contrast. But if you want to increase it, can go there and increase the percentage of fill. So let's just continue. I think the contrast is good enough. Then for that is step 6. Then for step 7, we are going to add shine. We are going to add shine to the image. So how can we add shine to this image? Let's just see if we can take, let's go to the adjustment layer and choose curves again. Then in here, we are not going to do anything, but going to change our blend mode to screen. We'll double click on it and we have the layer style box out. Then this underlying layer here, we can take the dark slider to the right, which if you take a look at this now, if you take a look at the image, you will notice that we have these shines. Once you are pulling it to the right, you notice that we have all this shining stuff around the face. Then if you take it to an extent that it's not going to be too big on the face, then you just leave it that way. Then let's say if we should take it this way, that means we covered almost everywhere here. Then have to use our Alt down, hold our Alt down and split this angle apart and break it apart and spread it apart to blend the transition. So you can hit OK. Then you select the layer mask and use Ctrl I to invert it. Then make sure your foreground on your brush and your background is on white, and you paint on the areas. Then the nose top. Like all these areas. I think we have to blend up this area also. Then the chin, the lips. This is before adding the shine. This is after adding the shine. Is there no difference there? It's amazing already. So we have our stuff like this. We have our stuff like this. Then after adding this shine, I think the last step is going to be step 8, which is going to be adding brightness or reducing brightness or whatever. For that, we are just going to go to the adjustment layer and choose brightness and contrast. Then we can just pull it down a bit and increase the contrast a bit also. I think it's okay like this. I think it's okay like just add a little brightness and contrast, and if you feel your image is good to go, say brightness, contrast should be down. I think it's okay like this. If you go to, let's say for instance, you go to this is brightness, if you put it off, you can see we have it a kind of balance. Then you check the curves, which is going to tell about the shine on the face. Then let's just name here as shine. Let's double click and say shine for organizing purpose. Then what else again? This group is contrast. Contrast. So I think we are good to go. Then we have this layer as contrast. Then we have the other layer as, let's put it in a group, Ctrl G. Then we'll name it as texture. This group should be soft skin. Soft skin. Everything is well organized now. If we start checking it now, let's say the first one. This is brightness. Let's say brightness. Then it's okay. Then the shine, before and after. Then the contrast, before and after, which is the hue and saturation. Then dodging and burning, before and after. Let's reduce it and see. This is dodging and burning, before and after. Then the texture, before, you can see it very well, before and after. You can also go to opacity and reduce the amount of texture that you applied. So anything can happen. You can change anything. So you can reduce the amount of texture if you wish. Increase it, let's say 55%, 95%. So you can see it's looking beautiful. So this is the texture. This is before and this is after. It's not that much anymore. You can change the opacity, you can change anything. So I believe it's okay like this, and if you take a look at it, it's a very good artwork. Then let's see the before and after. Let's disable this and see the before and after. When you hold your Alt down and see, this is general before, this is general after, this is general before, and this is general after. It's like something is missing. Let's whiten the eyes. I think we forgot to whiten the eyes. Then let's go to the upper, choose the upper layer and hit our adjustment layer again, go to hue and saturation, just go to the drop down and pick up red and reduce the saturation, then increase the lightness, then also go to yellow, then reduce the saturation and increase the lighting, then can close it up and use your Ctrl I to invert it, then go to the eyeball and make sure your background is white and your foreground is black. Let's say white and foreground is black. Then you can go ahead and paint in the white eyes. So as you can see, it's amazing already. Then if you feel maybe the color is too much, I don't know if you, depending on your screen, I can see it's looking okay, but alternatively, if the color is looking too much, you can still go and add another adjustment layer to kill the color down a little. But I think it's okay like this. That is it for today. I think it's a little bit easy and time consuming. If you find it interesting, helpful and useful, let us know in the comment section telling us where it has helped, where it has not, and the area we need to improve on. Like I said earlier, if you are new on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not only by hitting that subscribe button, also ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. Thanks for watching today's video. Creative Pro, keep on creating. Please stay creative. For now, bye. See you in the next video. Bye for now.